and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all very well today. It's second day back. I'm still having a lovely time. Today I'm going to be going over, I've got so many books that I have acquired in the month of February, books that I've bought, books that I've been sent by the publisher, and I'm going to show them to you here and now. Don't really know where to start, books I've bought or books from the publisher. We'll start with books from the publisher just because they're nearer to me. So the first three are ones that were sent to me by the lovely Emma from Book Break, who I love and adore. The first one is a book that isn't even out until June, so that's very exciting, and that's called The Harpy by Megan Hunter. Really like this, these feathers upon the front. So it says here, Lucy works from home but devotes her life to the children. What's that little postcard? Devotes her life to the children, to their finely tuned routine, and to the house itself, which comforts her like an old sly friend. But then a man calls one afternoon with a shattering message. His wife has been having an affair with Lucy's husband Jake. He wants her to know. Whoa. The revelation marks a turning point. Lucy and Jake decide to stay together, but in a special arrangement designed to even the score and save their marriage. She will hurt him 3 times. Wow. Jake will not know when the hurt is coming, nor what form it will take. Oh, goodness me, that sounds tense. Really tense. Now, this is quite a short book. It's only 201 pages. But yeah, it sounds very tense, and out in June. So lovely stuff. Where do I put the ones I've talked about? Put them over there. The next one is a book that I wanted to get. This is now out in paperback, and I wanted to get my hands on the hardback, and I kept seeing the hardback thinking, oh, I definitely will get that. But it's out in paperback now, so I've got it. And this is It's Not About the Burqa, which is edited by Mariam Khan, and this is 17 Muslim women talking about, well, it just says here, speaking frankly about the hijab and wavering faith, love and divorce, feminism, queer identity, sex, and the twin threats of a disapproving community and a racist country. Sounds really important. I love this front cover. It's got all these women wearing well, not wearing hijabs either, under there, and I just love it. So I'm very much looking forward to getting around to that. And then the next one is one that actually arrived this very morning. And that's the Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargreave. And I've got a feeling, well, there's another book in here as well, I think is going to be on the Women's Prize long list. The Women's Prize long list, by the time you watch it, will it be out? No, actually, it will be out tonight. So, it's Monday when this video is going out, I think, yeah. And normally, I don't know for definite if it's happening, but normally at 1 minute past midnight, on the day of the Women's Prize long list, they announce the long list. So that will be tonight. So I've got a feeling that this book by Kieran Millward Hargreave, The Mercies, which, by the way, has literally the most gorgeous cover ever. Look. I can't stop looking at it. It's got a boat hidden in there, a shark or something, some oars, fish bones. Oh, God, it's gorgeous. I think this is good. I think and I hope it's going to be on the long list. Also, this isn't, so if it is on the long list, I'm hoping to read as many of the long list as possible. Obviously, that's why I want this, because it sounds amazing, and also because it's going to be on the long list. It starts on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve 1617, the sea around the remote Norwegian island of Vardø is thrown into a reckless storm. As Maren Magnusdatter watches, 40 fishermen, including her father and brother, are lost to the waves. The menfolk wipe out in an instant. Vardø is now a place of women. So this is talking about sort of rebuilding their lives after all the men have gone. And then someone from Scotland, I believe, arrives, and they want to take control of the place. So yeah, it sounds amazing. I'm really excited. I really hope it's on the Women's Prize long list, but it sounds fantastic. The next one was sent to me from Penguin Random House. This is a debut novel. It's called Last Lesson by James Goodhand. And the tagline here is, it says, can a criminal act ever be called a cry for help? So it follows Ollie, who was a star pupil, popular musician, everything, and then after an accident, everything changes. Oh, I've lost a bit of hair there. Things start changing, and he becomes an outcast, and on the last day of school he brings in a homemade bomb. Hello, David.
Hello, it's just doing my hair.
Oh, David's shutting the door because he's blow drying his hair. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with this. This isn't out until April, but yeah, sounds like it's going to be interesting. So that can go over there. I'll tell you what, I'll put the ones that aren't quite out yet on a different pile, because they're the ones that I like to put on a different bookshelf, because that is how it works. The next one isn't out yet either, and it's another one that I think is potentially going to be on the Women's Prize long list, and that's The Bass Rock, or The Bass Rock by Evie Wilde. I've seen Mercedes review this, and Simon also thinks it's going to be on the Women's Prize long list, and it just sounds really, really... Oh, actually, also, I went to an author talk of Sarah Perry. She was talking about Melmoth, and the guy who she was chatting to, who was like in conversation with, this is awful because I don't know his name, but he's a book reviewer for The Observer, and he's Preston from The Ordinary Boys' brother. So what was his name? I can't remember his name, but yeah, so he's Preston from and I asked Sarah Perry, I said, oh, do you keep up to date with reading, and what books do you think are going to be on the long list this year? She says she has a real hard time keeping up with books. She says she comes to books always about 5 years late, but he said that this one will definitely be on there. He also said Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, and another one, I can't remember the other one, but yeah, I believe that this, I'd be surprised if this wasn't on the long list. By the way, if you're watching this, I will probably at some point on Monday on my Instagram put up a little list of the books that I think are going to be on the long list. So keep an eye out for that on my Instagram. I'm at Lauren and the Books. So it says here, surging out to the sea, the base rock has for centuries borne witness to the lives that pass under its shadow on the Scottish mainland. And across the centuries, the fates of 3 women are inextricably linked to this place and to each other. In the early 1700s, Sarah, accused of being a witch, is fleeing for her life. Ruth, in the aftermath of the Second World War, is navigating a new marriage and the strange waters of the local community. 6 decades later, Viv, still mourning the death of her father, is cataloguing Ruth's belongings in the now empty house. So yeah, it's about 3 women, their stories unfolding, and their choices. So yeah, sounds amazing. Again, that's not out until the end of the month. So although the Women's Prize long list comes out at the beginning of March, it runs up until books that are published at the end of March. So that will probably be on there. As I believe Hamlet's not out yet either. The next one is it's a shortlisted book for the for the Booker International. This is The Discomfort of Evening by Marika Lucas Reineveld. This is published by Faber and translated from Dutch. And it's about 10-year-old Jazz, who has a unique way of experiencing the universe. The feeling of udder ointment on her skin as protection against harsh winters, the texture of green warts like capers on migrating toads, the sound of blush words that aren't in the Bible. But when a tragic accident ruptures her family, her curiosity warps into a vortex of increasingly disturbing fantasies, unlocking a darkness that threatens to derail them all. So yeah, it's a best-selling sensation in the Netherlands, and it's found its way over here, so... lovely stuff. The next 2 are ones that I've read the first. So these are collections of essays by Samantha Irby. These are the next 2. So I've read the first one, which is called We Are Never Meeting in Real Life. And that's yellow and has a kitten on the front. Then we've got this one, Meaty, which has got hedgehog on the front. And then we've got Wow, No Thank You. And this is the newest one, which isn't out until the end of April. With a bunny on the front, and I really enjoyed these essays when I read them in the We Are Never Meeting in Real Life essay collection. David, look at these little animals on the front of these.
Oh, are they about them animals?
No, they're not. Oh. Good question, David. They're about feminism and race and body size and just all sorts, all things that I love. So we'll be looking forward to reading those again. One of those not out, so goes in that pile. One of them is out, goes in that pile. The next one I've got is The Squiggly Career. Ditch the ladder, discover opportunity, design your career. This is from Penguin Business. And I feel like more and more people's careers aren't what they potentially set out to be. I was having a discussion actually about this with, well, this was quite a while ago, with my friend Ryan, who works as an SEO, and that job didn't exist when we were in school. So how do you train for a job that doesn't exist? How do you learn stuff for a job that doesn't exist? And although I'm in a career in the NHS, I consider like this also part of my, not work, because it's a hobby that I love so much and also earn a little bit of money from. So I feel like lots of people now have jobs, oh, that's fallen out, lots of jobs and sidelines and things like that, and this looks like a book that talks that will educate you on that, and also it's got sort of exercises and things throughout. For example, I've just turned to, should I start a side project? So all sorts of exciting things like that. I'm going to turn this light on. Alexa, turn on big lamp. Has that made a difference? Who knows? It's very dark outside. I was supposed to do parkrun this morning and I was unable to because it was raining so much I couldn't do it. The next book is also sent to me by Emma from Book Break, but actually I asked if she could send it to me, but not for me, for David, because David loves non-fiction books about like animal stories. Oh, it's hailing. Can you hear that? So dark and miserable out there. Non-fiction animal stories. He loves things like A Street Cat Named Bob. There's another one called The Elephant Whisperer, I think was one of his favourite books. And I saw this on the Book Break Insider email and said, I won't get round to reading that, but David will love it. And that's Kika and Me by Amit Patel, which is how one extraordinary guide dog changed his world. So Amit Patel got an illness and became blind, like in the space of about 36 hours. In fact, it was 36 hours. And he... this is his journey of becoming blind, and also living with his guide dog, Kika. So yeah, I knew David would love this. Look at her, learning how to cross the road safely with Kika. And I know he'll love this. And David doesn't tend to read apart from when it's cozy reading night. So the next cozy reading night, he'll be picking this up, I imagine. Although we are going on holiday shortly, so he might take this with him on holiday. But yeah, I know he will love this. So thank you to Emma for sending this to me. I put it on my Instagram when he got it. And he was so happy. He's never had book post before, so he's so delighted. So thank you. Put that in another pile because that's David's pile. The next one is a book that was sent to me by Jonathan Cape, and it is this beautiful, and I love this front cover. This is like bright yellow and greens, all lovely. Difficult Women by Helen Lewis. This is a history of feminism in 11 fights, and they also sent me, always helpful, a tote bag for my shopping, so that's good, and that says Difficult Woman in it. So this is all about, it's got a good, so as well, that's not even the book, this is the book, looks the same. This is, it's saying, the difficult woman is not rude, petty or mean. She is simply willing to be awkward if the situation demands it, demanding if the occasion requires it, and obstinate if someone tries to fob her off. She does not care if that's the way it's always been done. She is unmoved by the suggestion that it's natural for women to act a certain way or accept a lower status. It probably isn't, and even if it is, so is dying from preventable diseases. No one thinks we should succumb to cholera just because it's traditional. So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be super duper interesting. And another sort of way of talking about feminism is like presenting these books about feminism is telling it in 11 different fights that happen, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what happens with that. My goodness me, it is so haily and rainy out there. What is this? It's a new storm. Every weekend for the past like 3 or 4 weekends there's been a storm in the UK. This one I think is called Storm Jorge, or Yoya. It looks like it says George with a J, but I saw that it's pronounced Jorge or Hoye something. Anyway, it's here. And then the last one I got sent from the publisher, I actually contacted them myself and asked if I could have a copy of this because, oh, it looks amazing. This is Isabel Greenberg's newest book called Glasstown. Now, I have loved Isabel Greenberg's books previously. The Encyclopedia of Early Earth was one of my favourite books of the year when I first started BookTube. 100 Nights of Heroes, lovely. And this is about the Bronte sisters. Although, is Branwell a boy or a girl? I don't know. That sounds like a boy's name to me. And this is their story of them inventing a world that they can that they can step into. So a world that they're all very talented authors. I'm sure you've heard of some of their works. And they've invented this world called Glasstown. I love Isabel Greenberg's illustrations. I love the way it's all put together. I mean, look. It's just amazing. The colour palette's amazing. I can't wait to read this and get into the story of it because it looks absolutely amazing. These are the books that are like perfect presents for people who love books. I mean, look at it. It's amazing. So those are the books that were sent to me by publishers. Then I've got some books that I bought here. The first two I bought for... It's the Irish Read-a-thon this month, and you may well have seen these books yesterday in my TBR, so I won't dwell on them too much, but this month is split between reading Irish authors and beginning to read the Women's Prize long list. So 2 books that I wanted to pick for the Irish Read-a-thon. The first one is Marian Keyes' Grown Ups. Now, Marian Keyes is not an ordinary author that I would read. I don't tend to read much women's contemporary fiction, but I'd heard her on 2 podcasts recently and thought she was just amazing, and was like, I really want to pick up this book, and it's a nice big one, and I thought this would be the perfect book to take away on holiday and just have a lovely time. It's a family saga told about the Casey brothers, and they all seem to, on the surface, they get on really well and everything's wonderful, but under the surface things are a little bit murkier. And I think someone hits there, yeah, Cara gets concussion and can't keep her thoughts to herself. One careless remark at Johnny's birthday party with the entire family present starts Cara spilling out all their secrets. So yeah, it sounds great, and this is for the prompt, a book that's been published in the last 2 years. This only came out at the beginning beginning of February, so it's a new book. And you know I love to read me some new books. This book is not a new book. This is another Irish book. I had to buy this second hand. I couldn't find it new anywhere. I had to buy the second hand. I feel like this was maybe her first novel. I think it was. And this is by Emma Donoghue, who I think you'd be most familiar with her writing the book Room, and this was published in 1994, and it's a lesbian sort of coming of age, it says here, I'm sure it said lesbian coming of age story, telling a story about 17-year-old Maria who leaves her parents. She lives in a small town village and her parents are greengrocers, and she moves to Dublin to go to university, and she moves in with two girls, Ruth and, I must learn how to say that, I believe it's an Irish name, Jael, Hale, I don't know, and they're students as well, and it's a sort of like blurring between when you're friends with someone and when you begin to get romantic or sexual feelings for those people, for someone. And yeah, it's like a coming of age lesbian novel. Sounds amazing. This is one of the best lesbian romance novels yet. So yeah, very excited to get to that. Those two were for the Irish read-a-thon. Now I'm going to do a proper TBR about this and everything nearer the time, but last year in June I did something called, I invented it myself, I called it no I didn't, spoiler alert, I called it June Eyre, and I read Jane Eyre and read all books about like retellings of Jane Eyre, etc. And this year I thought I'd do Pride and Prejudice. So I'm going to read Pride and Prejudice. Actually, I'm going to read my lovely illustrated copy of Pride and Prejudice, which I don't know where that's gone, but it's around somewhere. It's lovely. But also I've been slowly collating books on of Pride and Prejudice retellings. And the first one I've got is Unmarriageable. This is Pride and Prejudice in Pakistan, a fresh and delightful retelling of the Jane Austen classic by Sonia Kamal. And this is about Alice and her family are invited to the wedding of the century in their town. Her mother, the indomitable Mrs. Binat, excitedly coaches her 5 unmarried daughters on the art of husband hunting. Alice's eldest sister Jenna quickly catches the eye of a wealthy entrepreneur. Sounds familiar, but it's his friend Valentine Darcy that doesn't conceal his unfavourable opinion of the Binat family. As the days of lavish festivals continue, the Binats wait breathlessly to see if Jenna will land a proposal, and Alice's realise, goodness me, I can't talk, I'm so excited. Alice realises that Darcy's bruteness hides a very different man to the one she judged at first sight. So yeah, so that's one that I'll be reading. And then I also got this secondhand. This is Prom and Prejudice by Elizabeth Yulberg. And I believe this is a US edition. This is a retelling. So it says here, after winter breaks, the girls at the very prestigious Longbourn Academy become obsessed with the prom. Lizzie Bennet, who attends Longbourn on a scholarship, isn't as interested in designer dresses and expensive shoes, but her best friend Jane might be. Oh, so not sisters, best friends. Especially now that Charles Bingley is back from a semester in London. They've just lifted those names straight out of Pride and Prejudice, haven't they? Lizzie is happy about her friend's burgeoning romance, but is less than impressed by Charles's friend Will, Darcy, who's snobby and pretentious. Darcy doesn't seem to like Lizzie either, but she assumes it's because her family doesn't have money. Clearly Will Darcy is a pompous jerk, so why does Lizzie find herself drawn to him anyway? So yeah, that's another one. So as the months go by, I imagine I'll be getting my hands on some other Pride and Prejudice retelling. I've always, or even books that sort of like happened afterwards. I've owned a copy of When Death Comes to Pemberley for so long and never read it. And there's also a few sort of like books that are like stories off the back of it and retellings and all sorts. So as the month goes on, I'm just trying to peel a sticker off this next book, and I've made a right old pig's ear of it. And then the last book that I bought this month was This Is Not a Drill. This is the Extinction Rebellion Handbook. I'd been meaning to get my hands on this for a while, and then recently, actually, I bought it, and then after that I saw that Lena from the channel Lena Norms had done a video where she sort of does the homework for you. So she sort of pulls apart this and brings out the main messages, and that made me want to read it even more. So this is one that I'll be reading very soon and very, very important. So those are the books. David, do you remember when you got sent this in the post?
I do.
Were you happy?
I am.
Are you going to read it at Crazy Read tonight?
I am.
You're going to take it on holiday with you?
I'm going to take it on holiday with us and read it there.
Exciting. So yeah, so those are the books that I got my hands on in the month of February. Will there be another book haul this month? Who knows? I'm definitely going to do a library book haul at some point because I love doing those. And yeah, I guess I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Bye!